What are some of the specific ways in which Israel's military actions have targeted and damaged Gaza's water resources, for example? And we talked earlier on about the long-term effects. I mean, what would the effect now be, given that that hopefully the Parliament their Parliament would ratify the agreement today, tomorrow. The water resources has been a major, I mean, the target of this illegal occupation. What are the long-term effects thereof?
Yeah, so water is a really, really big question in the military occupation of Palestine. Firstly, just to give you a big picture, the state of Israel, while it sells itself as being this remarkable entity that makes the desert bloom, I'm sure you've heard that story before, and sells things like desalination plants and irrigation systems and so forth all over the world as if it was some kind of incredible magical expert. Again, warning for Cape Town citizens, watch carefully where all of this water salination technology is coming from. We need to track and make sure that we're not being conned into buying things from Zionists, because they've done a very good PR job around the world of selling themselves as water technologists. What they've really done, in reality, what they've done is they've stolen all the water resources from the region. So I want people to pay very careful attention to the fact that the Israelis have now claimed that Mount Hermon, or the Golan, the full Golan Heights, belongs to them. They used the opportunity of the fall of Assad to take more land, and they've taken the watershed. So they've taken the area that supplies the sacred river of Jordan. In Gaza itself, they began to collapse the coastal aquifer. Again, something very familiar to Cape Townians, how precious coastal aquifers are, how sensitive they are to saline water intrusion. So if you pull out too much water, they'll fill up with salt water, and then the sweet water is gone and you can't use it for irrigation or any other purpose. So Gaza has suffered ever since the siege began in 2006. The aquifer began to collapse in 2007. So they've destroyed this ancient water supply, so ancient that it was written about in Egyptian texts of 3,000 years ago. And in fact, the reason that Gaza is so crowded today is because in the first Nakba of 48, that's where refugees stopped. They stopped in Gaza because of its sweet water. So that's gone. There's a very precious wadi, there's a very precious wetlands, very important for migratory waterfowl, whose condition we don't know. Because in addition to what Laith is saying about the full and vicious destruction of the healthcare system, every aspect of Gaza's research capacities has been destroyed. So we now need to urgently get in and do things like soil testing and water testing to try to find out what the toxicity effects are and whether the water can ever be restored. I mean, these are questions to which we don't have answers, but the impossibility of doing this work now that all research capacities have been destroyed. I'm part of a group that works on Gaza food systems called Gaza Regenerated. And one of our real concerns is to keep the Baladi farming systems in place, which is indigenous farming methods that go back thousands of years, that have been carefully developed by Palestinians through observation and science done with the soils and the land of where they work. That now risk being replaced by big technologized agricultural systems that cannot work in that very sensitive ecosphere. So there's a tremendous amount around water that we need to watch very carefully, including things like the wholesale destruction of Gaza's desalination plants. Its water systems have been destroyed, although amazingly Gaza's engineers have been repairing as they get blown up. But we do need to watch Israel's ambitions to take everybody else's water. That's also partly what the incursions into South Lebanon are about. I hope everyone's been attending to the fact that everything is heading up to the Latanya River because they want to control the water. And as a water controlling entity in a region that apart from its coastal areas where Gaza is, which is why they want it, is not that fertile, although it's in the Fertile Crescent. It's also part of the world that's heating most quickly. And as observant listeners will know, we passed the 1.5 degree heating threshold mark in 2024. So it's very, very hot and very dry, and water is exceedingly precious. And those water wars of the future that we've all been warned about, they're not in the future, my friends, they are now. This is a water war. In a very important way, this is also a war for the settler colony of Israel to control all the water sources. So we need to pay attention, because these kinds of problems, these kinds of approaches, this kind of violent settler governance, this kind of thieving is becoming a kind of governance model that other nations are willing to pursue as well. And so these are all warnings for all of us. This ecocidal violence cannot be contained to a single place, because all of the Earth's systems are connected. And what it takes place in one place is going to take place in another. And we are all breathing in the toxicity of the air of Gaza right now, because these systems move around the world. So it's, ecocide it always sounds like something that we're doing to the environment, but we are the environment, right? I mean, what are our bodies made of? Exactly the same things. We're made of water. We're made of the same substances as soil. When those are polluted and endangered and toxified, so are our bodies. And this is why everybody is so sick now around the world.
Incredibly serious situation from what Dr. Vanessa Vaz is referring to. Thank you for that.